The ship floated above a dead moon, silent and forgotten. Its once bright hull was now dull and scarred, covered in burns and cracks from old battles. The engines were cold. Whole sections of the armor were missing. It looked more like a drifting grave than a warship. Around the galaxy, everyone knew its name, not with fear, but with laughter. It had been the slowest, weakest ship in the Council's navy, the one that always arrived late to battles, barely able to defend itself. Alien. Officers used it as a joke in their training rooms. "Don't end up like that ship," they'd say, while showing pictures of its bent armor and leaking fuel lines. Now it sat alone in the empty dock of Cora 7 station, orbiting far from the busy trade routes. To the Galactic Council, it was nothing but scrap metal, but to one group of humans, it was a gift and an insult. The Council had recently allowed humans into their navy. Many alien leaders argued against it, saying humans were too new to understand galactic warfare. Others simply did not trust them. So, as a test, the Council gave humanity its first ship. They did not choose a fresh-built cruiser or a proud dreadnought. They gave them this, the most broken vessel in the fleet. The message was clear: you are small, you are weak. Prove you can do something with nothing. Captain Elias Ward stepped onto the docking bridge, his boots echoing against the metal floor. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and carried himself like a man who had seen too many battles. His uniform was simple, without medals or rank pins. But the way the crew stepped aside for him said enough. He stopped at the viewing window and looked at the ship. No one could tell what he was thinking. His second-in-command, Lieutenant Kara Voss, joined him, shaking her head. "It's falling apart," she said. "Engines are dead, weapons stripped. Half the life support is offline. They're mocking us, Captain." Elias didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the ship, cold and sharp. Finally, he said, "Then let's make them regret laughing." Next day, the first human engineers arrived. Some were young and wide-eyed, others seasoned veterans of Earth's wars. They stood on the dock, looking up at the wreck. Some muttered in disbelief. Others smirked, as if already imagining the challenge. Work began immediately. The alien shipyard crews watched from a distance, whispering among themselves. Humans worked differently. They didn't just replace parts, they tore entire sections apart, cutting into the ship's core. They brought in strange equipment and unfamiliar alloys. Some nights, the dock lit up with sparks as humans welded new armor in patterns no alien had seen before. Rumors spread quickly. A maintenance worker claimed to have seen human techs installing weapons far more dangerous than Council-approved designs. A freighter captain swore he saw cargo crates marked with Earth's military seal, and something about them hummed with a strange low vibration. The Council ignored the rumors. To them, humans were simply wasting time on a lost cause. "They'll never get it to fly," one alien admiral said. "It will break apart the moment they leave dock." But inside the ship, a transformation was happening. Old control panels were replaced with sleek, human-built systems. The ancient reactor was pulled apart and rebuilt from scratch. Its unstable core replaced with something far more efficient and far more dangerous. Hidden compartments appeared where there had been empty corridors. The ship's targeting system was reprogrammed to use Earth's war logic, a style of combat the galaxy had never seen. One evening, Captain Ward walked the main deck, watching his crew at work. Sparks rained from the ceiling where two engineers welded a new armor plate into place. Technicians crawled through open panels, connecting thick cables. The air smelled of oil and heated metal. 2 weeks, Kara reported, holding a datapad. Reactor is stable. Engine output is already 20% higher than the original specs. We'll be ready for a test run soon. Elias nodded. Good, let's make it count. They worked without rest. Alien crews tried to sneak inside to see the progress, but every time they were turned away by human guards or simply vanished from the dock entirely. No one knew where they went. On the 24th day, the ship's engines roared to life for the first time in decades. The sound shook the dock, rattling tools off tables. Blue-white light poured from the thrusters, and the ship began to hum with power. Dock workers stopped what they were doing and stared. They had never heard the ship sound like this. Its energy readings appeared on the station's monitors. And something was wrong. The numbers were too high, far beyond what the original design could handle. A senior alien technician frowned at the data. "That can't be right," he muttered. "If those readings are true, that ship could outpace half the fleet." In the control room, Elias Ward stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the monitors. The ship was ready. Not perfect, not finished, but ready enough to remind the galaxy that humans never accepted humiliation quietly. The Council had given them a broken toy. Humans were building a weapon. That night, as the station lights dimmed for the rest cycle, the ship sat glowing softly in the dock, its new armor catching the faint light of the dead moon. In the darkness, it no longer looked broken. It looked patient, and somewhere deep inside, past locked bulkheads and sealed doors, a system came online, one not listed in the Council's ship registry. Its lights flickered red, and a low, mechanical voice spoke for the first time. Asterisk the next morning, the shipyard was alive with noise. Welding arcs flashed in the shadows. Metal groaned as giant cranes lifted new armor plates into place, and the steady thud of hydraulic tools echoed across the dock. Humans worked with an intensity that unsettled the alien crews. They did not take long meal breaks. They did not wander off to talk. They worked until their arms ached and their eyes burned. From a distance, the ship still looked broken, as if it could fall apart with one wrong move. That was exactly how Captain Elias Ward wanted it. The more the galaxy thought the ship was still a wreck, the more time humans had to prepare in secret. Inside the vessel, everything was changing. The bridge, once a rusting chamber of dim lights and outdated consoles, now shone with clean metal and fresh wiring. New displays pulsed with green and gold indicators. The control chairs had been replaced with human-designed seats, smaller, closer to the floor, meant for fast movement and long hours. Every console was wired directly to a custom-built human AI core in the engineering deck. Lieutenant Karavos stood with a team of techs, watching the main reactor's new heartbeat with soft, blue light. "It's holding steady," one engineer reported. "Output at 45% and climbing." Kara smiled faintly. "Let's keep it that way. If this thing overloads, we'll vaporize half the station." The humans weren't only repairing, they were upgrading in ways no alien blueprint had ever suggested. Hidden weapon mounts were installed beneath the armor plating. New power conduits were laid along secret corridors. Even the cargo bays were reinforced, capable of holding something far heavier than standard freight. Rumors began to swirl beyond the shipyard. A merchant passing through Cora 7 claimed to have seen massive crates unloaded under heavy guard, each stamped with Earth's Defense Command seal. Another swore that late at night, strange noises echoed from the dock, the sound of something huge powering up, followed by a deep, metallic growl that no one could explain. The council sent an inspection team to see what was going on. 3 alien officers arrived with datapads, demanding access. Captain Ward greeted them politely, smiled, and led them through the ship. He showed them the bridge, the crew quarters, and the outer decks, all clean, all quiet, all harmless looking. What he didn't show them was the lower level, where a massive chamber had been sealed shut with reinforced human blast doors. Inside, a crew worked on something the size of a dropship, a weapon so dangerous it wasn't even in the Council's classified database. When the inspection team left, one of them muttered, "Still a waste of resources. That ship will never see a real fight." Ward watched them go, expression unreadable. Weeks passed. The humans worked faster. They spoke little about their true plans, even among themselves. Orders were given face to face, never over open comms. Every design schematic was stored only on human-controlled systems. One night, during a routine systems test, the ship's targeting array powered up. A cluster of maintenance drones hovering nearby was instantly locked in. Without warning, a burst of concentrated fire ripped through the dock, slicing the drones apart with frightening precision. Dock workers screamed and scattered. Ward's voice crackled over the comm. Testing complete. The guns powered down as if nothing had happened. The alien overseers were furious, threatening to halt the project for safety violations. But by the next morning, the incident was buried in paperwork. Someone, somewhere in the council, had ordered the records erased. In the mess hall, the crew ate in silence. No one spoke about the test, but everyone understood the message. The ship was ready to fight. On the 29th day, the first engine trial began. Massive fuel lines pumped volatile mix into the thrusters. Warning sirens wailed. Engineers strapped in as power surged through the ship's veins. The engines ignited, their roar so loud it shook dust from the high beams of the dock. The readings spiked far beyond safety limits, but the structure held dot from the observation platform. Alien workers stared in disbelief. The ship that had once struggled to limp across a system now had the power to leave them behind in seconds. That night, Ward stood alone on the bridge, looking at the starfield beyond the dock. The ship was almost ready, almost, but he knew the council wouldn't leave them in peace for much longer. Sooner or later, someone would try to stop them. As if reading his mind, Kara entered quietly. "Captain," she said, "you should see this." She handed him a small device, a recording unit intercepted from an alien comm channel. Ward pressed play. The voice was harsh, speaking in a guttural alien language, but the translation scrolled on the screen. "They think they can rebuild. It let them. When they leave dock, we'll be waiting." Ward shut the device off. His jaw tightened. "Good," he said. "Let them wait." Far below, deep in the hidden lower deck, the sealed chamber came alive. Red lights glowed. Hydraulic arms lifted a massive, black armored weapon into place, locking it into the ship's spine. Its long barrel gleamed in the dim light. A quiet hum filled the room, low and steady, like the sound of something breathing. A small green indicator blinked on the side of the weapon. Then a soft mechanical voice whispered into the darkness. Asterisk, the sky above Cora 7 station was calm that morning. Cargo ships moved slowly along their routes, and the station's traffic control broadcast its usual dull instructions. Inside the dock, the humans continued their work, unaware or pretending to be unaware that danger was already on its way, at the edge of the system. Just beyond sensor range, a pirate fleet slid out of warp. Their leader, a reptilian warlord named Drask, grinned as his ships formed into attack formation. For years, these pirates had raided the edges of Council space without fear. Now they had heard an interesting rumor. Humans had been given an old, worthless warship and were trying to make it work. To Drask, that sounded like easy prey. Scrap metal and humans both could be sold for profit. The Council received the distress signal from an outpost near the system's edge. Patrol ships were too far away. The Council's orders to the humans were clear. Remain docked. Do not engage. You are not battle-ready. On the bridge of the human ship, Captain Elias Ward listened to the message in silence. Then he looked at Kara, warmed the engines. Her eyes widened. That's a direct order to stand down. They gave us this ship to prove ourselves, Ward said. Let's do that. In the engineering bay, fuel roared into the reactors. Power surged through the ship, making the deck plates tremble. Crew members strapped themselves in as the hum of the engines grew into a deep, thunderous growl. From the outside, the ship still looked half dead, patches of old armor mismatched, plating, faint scorch marks from its past life. To the pirates, it seemed like a dream target. The ship left the dock slowly at first, gliding into open space like a wounded animal. Drask laughed over the comms, sending a mocking message. Run if you want, little humans. It will make no difference. Ward didn't answer. He waited until the pirates closed in, their ships forming a tight circle around the human vessel. Then, with a single nod, he gave the order. Unmask the guns. Panels along the ship's sides slid open, revealing long black cannons that no one in the galaxy had ever seen. Hidden turrets rotated into position. The pirates hesitated, unsure what they were looking at. Fire, Ward said. The first shot tore through space like a spear of light. One pirate ship vanished in an instant, its hull dissolving into molten fragments. Before the others could react, the human ship moved fast, far faster than its size suggested. It darted between the enemy ships, firing in short, brutal bursts. Alien. Captains screamed over open channels, demanding to know how this wreck could move so quickly. Some tried to flee, but the human ship was already behind them, cutting off their escape. On the bridge, Kara's fingers flew over the controls, feeding targeting data to the ship's AI. For left, she said. They're trying to flank us. Let them try, Ward replied. The ship twisted sharply. Using an Earth-designed maneuver no alien pilot would dare attempt. A gravity sling around a small asteroid that sent them slamming into the pirates. Blind spot. 2 more ships exploded in flashes of white light. Drask's voice came again, no longer mocking. What are you? Ward smiled without humor. We're human. The final 2 pirate ships turned to flee. Ward's eyes stayed locked on the tactical display. Bring the spine online. Deep inside the ship, the sealed chamber opened. The massive black weapon from the rebuild days slid into place, locking along the ship's centerline. A low rumble filled the air as it powered up, drawing energy from the reactor. Target locked, Kara confirmed. Fire. A single shot streaked across the darkness. It didn't explode like the others. Instead, a silent wave of energy rippled through space, freezing both pirate ships in place. Their engines died, their weapons shut down. Then their hulls split apart, as if something invisible had ripped them open from the inside. Silence fell. The battle was over. Back at the station, alien crews stared at their sensors, unable to process what they had just seen. This was not the broken ship they remembered. This was something else. Ward ordered the crew to stand down. Systems powered. Back to idle, the ship drifted quietly, as if nothing had happened. But in the council chambers, light years away, emergency meetings began. Reports flooded in, not just of the pirate fleet's destruction, but of the weapon that had done it. A weapon the council had never authorized. That night, as the crew celebrated in the mess hall, Ward stayed on the bridge. He knew the pirates weren't the real enemy. They were just the beginning. The come light blinked. A message from Earth appeared on the screen, marked eyes only. Ward opened it. Phase 3 approved. Prepare for deployment. His jaw tightened. Whatever was coming next, it would not be another small fight. Far below the bridge, the weapon's core glowed faintly red, like an ember waiting for breath. The pirate attack should have been the end of the story. A small skirmish, a minor footnote in the galaxy's endless politics. But news travels fast, and the story of a broken human ship destroying an entire pirate fleet spread faster than anyone expected. At first, the council tried to bury the reports. They released official statements claiming the pirates had been destroyed by combined forces, and that the human ship had played a supporting role. But the footage leaked, shaky recordings from station sensors, blurred images from distant freighters, all showing the same thing: a ship that should not have been able to move, tearing apart, enemy vessels with impossible speed and precision, and somewhere far beyond council space, another set of eyes was watching. The Draxian Empire had been building its fleets for years, waiting for the right moment to challenge the council. To them, the rumors of a human warship were not just curious, they were dangerous. If humans could build something so powerful from a wreck, what could they do with a real fleet? 3 weeks after the pirate battle, the Draxian fleets moved. They didn't bother with a formal declaration. They swept across the border, striking at outer colonies and outposts. The council scrambled to respond, sending ships to defend vital systems. But the Draxians were faster, more ruthless. When the war began, the human ship was stationed at Cora 7, officially still in trial phase. But Ward knew they wouldn't stay docked for long. The order came the next day. All available ships to the front. The journey to the war zone was silent. The crew trained in shifts, running battle drills and weapons checks. Kara spent hours with the gunnery teams, fine-tuning targeting systems. In the sealed lower deck, engineers worked on the black weapon, increasing its power draw. When they reached the front lines, the war was already in chaos. Burning wrecks drifted through space. Council fleets were being pushed back, system by system. The Draxian ships were larger, heavily armored, and fought with cold precision. The human ship entered the battle without warning. On the tactical display, Ward saw dozens of enemy vessels locking weapons on a crippled council cruiser. He didn't hesitate. "Target the lead battleship," he ordered. The spine weapon fired. The battleship's shields collapsed instantly, its hull folding in on itself before exploding into a cloud of molten debris. Council ships turned in shock, unsure what had just saved them. The Draxian formation broke for a moment, and Ward seized it. Full speed, he commanded the ship. Tore through the enemy line, guns blazing, shredding smaller ships as it went. Human tactics were unlike anything the Draxians had trained for. The ship feinted left, then darted right, slipping between two destroyers and gutting them with a single volley. On the coms, Draxian officers shouted over each other. Identify that vessel. Stop it at all costs. They tried. 3 enemy cruisers boxed the human ship in, unleashing a barrage of fire. Shields flared, armor plates cracked, but Ward didn't order a retreat. Instead, he ordered something the AI called Ghost Protocol. The ship's systems flickered, then vanished from all sensors. To the Draxians, it was gone. They scrambled to retarget, scanning the area desperately. That was when the human ship reappeared directly behind their command carrier, the Spine. Weapon fired again. The carrier split in two. The rest of the Draxian ships began to fall back. Unable to regroup under the shock, the Council declared it a victory. But Ward knew better. This was only a probe, the Draxians testing the defenses. And now they knew the human ship was real. Later, in the War Council briefing, alien admirals praised the ship's performance, but demanded to know the source of its power. Ward gave them nothing. "It's just human engineering," he said with a thin smile. That night, as the crew repaired damage and restocked ammunition, a private message came in from Earth. Phase 4, approved. You are to proceed to coordinates attached. Do not inform the Council. Kara read the message twice. They're sending us outside Council space. Ward nodded slowly. Then that's where the real war begins. In the sealed lower deck. The black weapons' glow deepened from red to a strange, almost living gold. Asterisk, the coordinates from Earth took the human ship far from the front lines, past known trade routes, and into deep, uncharted space. The crew didn't know why they were here. Even Kara, who had been at Ward's side since the beginning, could only guess. After 3 days of silent travel, the stars shifted. Ahead, a massive shadow moved against the darkness. At first, they thought it was an asteroid. Then the scanners. Read the truth. It was a ship. No, not just a ship, a dreadnought. Twice the size of the largest Council battleship, bristling with weapons. Its hull glowing with the deep crimson light of the Draxian Empire. This was the Blood Reaper, the flagship of the Draxian warlord himself, Lord Varzek, and it was waiting. For them, Ward stood on the bridge, watching the readings scroll across the displays. Kara's voice was low but steady. That ship, it could take on the entire Council fleet. It's not here for the fleet, Ward said. It's here for us. The Blood Reaper moved slowly, deliberately, its sheer size making the human ship seem like an insect. Over the come, a deep, rumbling voice spoke in flawless standard. Human captain. Your ship is an insult to the galaxy. Surrender it to me, and I may let your crew live. Ward didn't answer. His crew looked at him. Waiting. Finally, he said, Spine online. All power to forward shields. The 2 ships closed in. The first barrage came from the Draxian dreadnought, a storm of plasma bolts and missile fire. The human shields flared under the assault, each hit shaking the deck. Warning lights flashed red, shields at 60%. Kara shouted, Hold. Steady, Ward replied. When they reached optimal range, the human ship struck back. The spine weapon fired, its golden beam tearing into the dreadnought's forward armor. The shot left a smoking crater in its hull, but the giant kept coming. The Blood Reaper retaliated with a weapon of its own. A massive beam of burning red energy that punched through the human ship's port side, tearing away whole sections of armor. Consoles exploded on the bridge. Smoke filled the air. Damage to decks 5 through 7. Kara yelled. Ward gritted his teeth. Ghost Protocol. Now, The ship vanished from sensors. The dreadnought's guns searched empty space, firing. Blindly, in the moment of confusion, the human vessel reappeared, right under the dreadnought's belly. All weapons, fire, Ward barked. Missiles and cannons roared in unison, ripping into the massive ship's vulnerable, under-armored sections. Explosions blossomed along its length. But still it did not fall. The Blood Reaper rolled violently, trying to crush them with its sheer mass. Ward pulled the ship into a sharp climb, skimming dangerously close to its surface. "Captain," Kara shouted, "if we keep this up, our reactor will." "I know," Ward cut her off. "Prepare the final shot." Down in the sealed lower deck, the black weapon's glow turned blinding gold. Energy readings climbed into the red, alarms screaming. The AI's voice echoed through the chamber. "Warning, output at critical. Firing may result in total system failure." Ward's voice was calm. "Do it." The spine weapon unleashed its full charge. The beam punched straight through the Blood Reaper from bow to stern. For a second, nothing happened. Then the dreadnought split apart, its massive form breaking into two burning halves. The explosion lit the void, a silent sunrise in the cold black. On the bridge, the crew stared at the debris drifting away. Kara turned to Ward. "We did it." Ward didn't answer right away. His eyes were still on the tactical display, because the display showed something else. Multiple new contacts were appearing at the edge of the system. Not Traction, not Council, unknown. Their signatures didn't match anything in the database. "Are those ships?" Kara asked quietly. Ward's face was unreadable. "No," he said at last. "They're bigger." The cum light blinked. A transmission came through, but the voice was unlike any they had ever heard. Layered, alien, ancient, impressive. "The galaxy believes you are its champion, but now, human, you will serve us." The signal cut. The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Kara whispered, "Captain, what was that?" Ward didn't answer. He simply turned to the helm. "Set a course for Earth. We need to talk to Command. This war isn't over. It's just changed." The human ship's engines roared to life, its golden weapons still glowing faintly, and in the distance, the unknown giants began to move.